What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes are back, always delivering the big names. Today we get to talk to UFC light heavyweight Dustin Jacoby, 19-7-1. He's coming off a big win over Kennedy and Chuck Wu, and now he's got Alonzo Menifield up on December 16th, UFC 296, which is, about 2 months away. Great way to end the year. What's going on, Dustin? How are you?
I'm doing great, man. What's up, Junkie Nation? Happy to be on the show and chatting it up with you guys a little bit. Everything's good. Life's good. Caught wind of the fight 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, and out of nowhere, I didn't plan on competing again this year. I was going to wait until, I was shooting for the big pay-per-view card in March that the
Oh, wow.
UFC does every year, and and they presented this opportunity and it's too good to pass up. So I said yes, and we're back in camp.
What swayed you? The money, the name, or anything else?
You know what? Honestly, at the beginning of the year, we always do a word at Factory X, one word, and my word was keep. And I wanted to keep my ranking. I wanted to keep winning. I wanted to keep climbing the ladder. I wanted to keep, winning and learning. And I started the year at 14. And I lost. I went down to 15. I won my last fight, which I fought a guy below me, so I stayed at 15. And the name, I was very happy with the opportunity in Alonzo Menifield, and he's ranked above me. And if I beat him, I get back to 14, and I was able to keep my ranking. So it was just too good of a deal to pass up. I love the matchup. I love the opportunity, and it keeps me on the straight and narrow, man. It gives me purpose. It just keeps me, in the game, keeps me doing what I do daily and climbing the ladder to the top.
You brought up that loss when you were talking right now, and you obviously had this great run when you came back, and then you had the two back to back. What changed and that you were able to maybe identify that helped you get back on top against Kennedy, and now again has you in this great matchup against Alonzo Menifield, where you might be able to salvage that and just keep chugging along like I said when you first came back to the UFC?
Yeah, I think the big thing when I lost to Khalil Roundtree, that took a lot of momentum. It took a lot of wind out of the sail, and it kind of shook my confidence a little bit. Khalil's no easy out. He's a very tough opponent. I certainly thought I did enough to get that win, and I was pretty down in the dumps when I was told that I didn't. And I think that carried over into my next fight. And mind you, Mirzakhanov is no easy out. The guy is undefeated. Asmat, the Russian I fought in April. He's fighting Khalil Roundtree coming up December 2nd, which I said right after I fought him, I was like, man, I would love to see him and Khalil fight each other. I think that's going to be a great fight. And honestly, I think Khalil beats him. I came off that loss to Khalil, and then I had another undefeated guy that in front of me that's super tough, man. I tell you what, if you look at us weighing in, it looked like I'm way bigger than him. And then I'm thinking, how can this guy beat me? But the guy is so incredibly fast. The fastest guy that I've ever been matched up against toe to toe in live action, bar none. And he packs a lot of power, man. And, he got the better of me that night. He definitely, that was a fight that I could accept that loss, but I was very happy with the way I finished that fight. I thought I lost the first couple rounds. I lost the first round for sure. The second round was close. He dropped me with 15 seconds left in the round, which I knew stole the round for him. And I came out in the third round and I gave it all I got. And I really pushed the pace, and I could feel him kind of slowing down. I could feel him slowly quitting, and I could feel like I was sucking the soul right out of him. And that's how I ended that fight. And I just took that momentum into my next fight. I didn't put too much pressure on myself. I went back to camp, just back to training like I usually do. And the last fight with Kennedy, I just felt no pressure, man. I felt like just go out there and have fun. Go out there and enjoy the moment, enjoy the crowd, enjoy the opportunity, enjoy the experience. And the fight could not have went any better, man. I was just in a really good mental zone for that camp and for that fight night. I told my coach right after, man, if I can find that same zone every single time, man, I feel like it could be unbeatable, because that's all it really is, man, is a mind state, a state of mind, and every fight's different. You try to you try to reenact these things or recreate these moments that you can't. Every moment is different. So you just got to go with the flow and, prepare and hope for the best. And I think that's what I did with my last fight in Kennedy. And it really showed. It was one of my best performances, and it was a great night.
Yeah, and he's a tough out too, man. And he's also been fighting very well too. And to get it done so quickly, that's a nice bounce back. You spoke very respectfully about both of those guys, by the way. Not to focus on those fights, but just would you ever want to run it back at some point, or do you just always like new matchups?
Well, the thing is, I definitely, that's the fighter in me. I'd love to avenge every loss. Everybody's like, man, why don't you call out Khalil again or get back at Khalil? It doesn't burn at me, especially the Khalil one. The Khalil one, I feel I'm really comfortable inside. I feel like him and I both know who won that fight. And that's not taking anything away from him. Khalil's a dangerous out for anybody. Look what he did his following matchup. He knocked out, Dukas, whatever the guy's name, coming down from heavyweight. But I'm content with that loss. Again, the Azamat fight, if we never squared up again, I'd be content with that, just with the way I finished that fight. But I definitely like new matchups. I definitely like, competing against different people, testing myself against the next guy. I'd really like to, get this big win in December and shoot my shot for a top 10 opponent. I was calling for Ryan Spann for this fight. He's in the top 10. It's another Fortis guy, a guy that I think I match up really well against. And, he didn't want to, compete again until next year. So maybe I'll get my shot after this fight. But most importantly, I got Alonzo Menifield in front of me. And I know that's no easy out either. So I got to bring my A game and be prepared for the best.
So I am actually fascinated with something you just said because I've heard it before from somebody else, from Kobe Bryant. He talked about this flow state. It was a game where I think he might have had like 60 points or something like that. And they asked him what happened, and he goes, I don't really know. He goes, I was just in the state where I knew whatever I threw up was going to go in and was going to make it. And he said everybody else felt really slow, and I could see everything before it was happening. And the reporter asked him, like, what do you think got you there? And he said, well, honestly, he goes, I think I was upset. I was pissed. He's like, I can't be pissed every game for the rest of my life. But he goes, I
Right.
think that's what kind of like helped me get to that. What do you think, like, after kind of evaluating what happened and all that, what do you think got you into that state? And how do you think you can replicate it again?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. I wish I had the answer for that, because like I said, if I could get to that right state of mind and that flow state that I was in, I feel like I could be unbeatable. And for me, I think I just relinquished the outcome. I say it, but I try not to focus on the outcome or the result, and we talk about that a lot, but that's really hard to do, when there's so much on the line, win or lose, especially in a cutthroat industry like this, a career like this. It's super difficult to not focus on the result, but I completely relinquished the result this last fight. I thought to myself, you know what? I've come this far. I went on a nice run, but none of that matters, man. I just got to go out there and have fun and enjoy the moment. And honestly, I really did. I just enjoyed the moment. I was in the back, and what fired me up for that fight too was the week before Justin Gaethje had fought in Salt Lake City. It was the big pay-per-view card in Salt Lake City, and I remember just like thinking of those fighters and Gaethje in particular. And I was like, man, he goes out there and just owns the moment, and it doesn't matter what else is going on. It doesn't matter how you feel, or if you had a bad camp, or if, man, you just didn't get enough sleep the night before. None of that matters. All that matters is the 15 minutes that you get the opportunity to go out there and showcase your skills. And I completely just, let everything go. And I think that was the big, I think that was it. I think that's what put me into the zone, just the entire camp, just not focusing on the outcome, just having fun. And I went out there and man, I did great that night. Like you just said, Kobe said, man, everything felt slow. I felt so in the zone. I could feel Kennedy on top of me. He put a lot of pressure on me, but I always felt comfortable. I always felt it was the most comfortable I've ever felt inside an arena, competing inside the UFC octagon, inside a Glory Kickboxing ring, wherever it was. It's just the most comfortable I felt, man. I think it was just giving up letting the outcome go, and just letting the cards fall where they may.
You've been in different positions throughout your career and probably in life. I think we all have. But is there something to being like the spoiler or an underdog in situations that maybe makes you thrive a little bit more.
Absolutely, man. I love that role. I love the underdog role. I love the road warrior role, the role of going into another opponent's hometown. I really thrive in that, and I think I really thrive when my back's against the wall. You know, a lot of people. I know a lot of people were talking that Kennedy was going to run right through me. I know Dana had us on as if you don't know now you know, and he ended it with, ladies and gentlemen, this fight should give us a new contender in the top 15. And I just kind of was like, man, by him saying that, like, it's like, give us a new contender. I mean, I've been here. So you're saying Kennedy's going to win. Okay. I just kind of, you know, I like that role. I like that pressure. And I felt really good that fight, man. I felt completely in control, and I love when my back's against the wall. So in this case, I'm coming off a big win, but I still have that mindset of my back's against the wall, man. I need to win this fight. I need to get back, keep my ranking at number 14, and go into 2024 with that top 10 mindset and mentality of getting into the top 10, and, you know, just seeing what the opportunities and what they may be.
You know, I think you're the professional athlete, but we're all human at heart. And I have to wonder, like, when they brought up this matchup for you, was there a part of this decision where you were like, oh, the holidays and all the good food and all the things that you could be doing? Is that part of like, oh man, all right, I guess I'll take this fight?
Yeah, again, I put it in my mind that I wasn't going to fight again until like March, April of next year. And so when Coach came with that opportunity, I just kind of grinned. He's like, "Look," he's like, "I know you." He's like, "You don't have to do this." He's like, "You know, don't feel pressure. Don't feel like you have to." And then I remembered when I fought Darren Stewart and I got that win. I did an article, I think, with I don't know, MMA Fighting or somebody, and apparently I had called out Alonzo Menifield. I'd said, you know, apparently he had just fought around that time. I had just seen him fight. So in that interview, I was like, man, I want guys like Alonzo Menifield. And I went and reread that article. Someone brought that to my attention. And I was like, man, how can I say no? And I tell you what else really amped me up to do this fight was my teammate, Brandon Royval, is fighting for the title that night. And I was like, man, I'm going to be there. I know when I'm there, I'm going to be watching these fights. I'm going to be saying, why didn't I take that fight? Why? Anytime I'm in the arena right there, I always want to be the man in the arena. I want to be one of the men in the arena. So I was like, man, I can't be there watching Brandon fight for world title and not be on the card if I had the opportunity. So that's another thing I thought about. I was like, I'm going to be there anyway, man. I might as well get my nose to the grindstone, get focused, get prepared, and go out there and compete as well.
Can't wait, Dustin. It's going to be a great card in Vegas, so we'll get to see it up close as well. Got a couple title fights that night. Your fights always deliver. You know, done a lot of work in that Apex. Now you get to show off in the T-Mobile, which is also pretty cool. I've noticed that you're on a lot of pay-per-views, so that respect needs to come your way, man. And hopefully this is the breakout fight for you.
Yeah, I sure do appreciate it, man. And I like that you took notice of that. You know, I have been on the UFC's been asking me for bigger cards. And that's another thing. I thought that was an honor and a privilege to be a part of such a big card. And another reason I couldn't say no. And real quick, I wanted to add, you know, I never watched film on Kennedy. Every time I watched Kennedy fight, because I'm a fan, I'd watch the fights. And every time I watched him fight, I'm like, man, that guy's good, but I know I can beat him. And every time I've watched Alonzo, and it's different watching a fight when you're getting ready to fight a guy, as opposed to I had no idea I was going to fight him. I'm just watching him fight, you know. So I have no, I'm not biased whatsoever. I'm just watching from a bird's eye view, and I wish I could beat him. And I know every time Alonzo's another guy that I've always watched fight, and I'm like, man, that guy's good, but I know I can beat him. So that was another reason I'm like, man, if you know you can beat him, go out there and do it. So that's why I get the opportunity to do that, and really looking forward to it, man. Like you said, another big pay-per-view card. I'm excited.
Hell yeah. I can't wait. Thanks, Dustin, for the time. Always great to catch up with you. And hopefully we can do it again soon.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you guys. Have a good day. Thank you, Junkie Nation. Have fun in Peru, and you guys take it easy.
Thank you,
Sweet.
sir.
We'll send you that video too. All right. Take care.
Appreciate you, boys. Thank you.